Good evening, welcome one and all to BRL for Season 9 for round number 2. I'm back on comms tonight with, well, obviously BRL. Let's make sure the video is live and all of that, so yeah, everything should be nice and live, ready to go. Just need to sort out the links, so there we go. Just want to make sure everything is sorted. So obviously, let me get the BRL channel. So now that link ready to post later, as well. So yeah, pretty much everything should be sorted for later in terms of that aspect. Just want to make sure everything is properly sorted. So give a sec or two. There we go. Of Season 9, BRL. Sound. So, just making sure the community post is up on my YouTube channel, and then we'll get into the live action. Currently is Bold, I believe, followed by Orion Imra on pole position on the front row with 125s and a 126. So yeah, just sorting out the the link to the Discord. So if new drivers do want to go join, check out the community post on my YouTube channel, which will have obviously a link to the live stream. And if new drivers do want to go join, obviously please do obviously use the Discord link to come join BRL and, well, grow the community. I'm sure they'd appreciate more drivers equally. So that would obviously help them out a lot, I'm sure. And then once I've posted this, let's get into today's stream. So yeah, that's then all posted. So that's pretty good then, by my standards. Hello to Geo Imra. As I say, if you want to also go if you want to go join, obviously, BRL, please obviously follow the link, which is in the live chat right now. And after this, I will be tagging BRL's YouTube channel, also on the, the replay, in the live stream section. So I'm sure that they'd all appreciate that. And yeah, let's get into then the action. So it is Bold currently on pole position. Not sure if he's on a new lap. He might be. Let's see if he can extend then his current pole position lap time with currently a 125.9 at the moment. That is currently where he's at. Obviously in the RB. Does look very nice, the RB Visa livery. I think is probably one of my favourite liveries so far throughout the 2024 season. Actually, truthfully speaking, I think they've done an amazing job with that livery and car. Obviously, not necessarily performance-wise. Obviously, RB's RB, as Orion's gone onto pole. But I think, yeah, Bolt can't be on a faster lap, considering he's, darting around behind the Aston Martin driver in the rear mirrors. Let's see what Blackbone is currently doing. So, Blackbone in the Mercedes through this slower Mickey Mouse section up the hill. And looks like he's invalidated very easily to do there in that middle part of the track. So, Kudum, presuming that's how you pronounce your name, Kudum 44, is currently 6th. Bazbrain's currently 5th. And it's Philip Noyes in 7th. Henson currently down in 8th. Deckley in 9th. Still waiting for Mr. Cookie to turn up and do a lap, unless he's got other plans. Maybe going for a last to first challenge. Which, if he is, fair enough. That then I'm pretty sure obviously would be quite a challenge for Mr. Cookie, considering his pace probably is doable from actually back there on the grid. So Orion comes into the pits with obviously fastest lap time at the present time of speaking. Pretty much so does everyone else. Henson currently on then a lap, I think, but looks like he might be on a in lap. Haven't done this in such a while, commentating actually. Haven't done it in over a month, so sorry if I sound a bit croaky, I suppose, and a little bit not worn out, or the opposite of worn out, trying to rediscover my feet. That's, I think, the better phrase to use, if you know where I'm coming from. And getting back into it, obviously, quite, well, not the challenge, but it's just quite the difference to try and just find your feet once again, I suppose, after having such a quite a break actually from commentary position, ultimately. Also then had flu the other week, which, tell you what, flu is not nice. Very, very bad that was, which still probably a little bit recovering from. Who knows? So here's Jimmy Jags then, who is also going into the pits. Everyone literally in the pits then. I think Philip Noise is currently on a lap here at the moment. So a little bit wide of the apexes. Definitely wide through there, but let's see if it's an improvement. Down by 33 thousandths in the middle sector on his personal best. Is quite the gap between 7th and 1st at the moment. Over a second and a half in terms of the lap time. So, well, just under a second and a half actually. I shouldn't say over a second and a half. Under a second and a half. There is right now between the field spread. And as Philip comes across the line, it's good enough for 5th. But I'm pretty sure Bazbrains and the rest of them will have something to say about that. Now I want to get up, not the fastest lap, I want to get up the gap to the leader. And you can see right now, between, well, 9th and 1st, there's a 1.490 second gap. So, yeah, quite the gap between the top 9 ultimately. Even between 4th and 1st, it's about 7/10. So, who's in the contention for pole here? You'd have to say, realistically looking at it, it's any of the top 3 for most certain. Maybe Blackbone could be a contender for pole, but anyone below Blackbone, I really wouldn't fancy their chances. Besides, obviously, one of the drivers at the back of the grid. We still don't know what they've got, and I imagine Mr. Cookie, well, Mr. Cookie's on Inters, so he's definitely not going to go faster. But we don't know what, obviously, CDR Nerf Pack or Ivo Spawn has got. CDR Nerf Pack is also in the pits, so he's not going to go faster. So it's Ivo Spawn who we don't know who's going to do what. So I think Orion's begun his lap. So has Katat, who is further ahead, and has spun his car, so he's out of qualifying. So it's just Orion. Orion getting all loose out of the rear. So that's going to cost him a few thousandths, maybe a tenth or two. Again, getting loose on that rear end and down by 2/10 in the first sector. And by the looks of it, he's abandoned his lap then here. So let's see what Rehenson is saying then. Through the first sector he comes. Can he find any sort of improvement? Again, looking a little bit all over the place through the first sector, like not looking that great, but is only down by a tenth on his personal best RB. So bit better than the other drivers who've done their first sectors. Let's see how the second sector is going to go for Rehenson, the Mercedes driver, who I'm not sure if he's standing. I will go through the standings actually very, very shortly. And Rehenson's invalidated. So let's see then what Bold is doing. Bold is down by about 38 thousandths of a second ultimately. So yeah, definitely not quite as well in the hunt for this, but it's only 21 thousandths to the pole. Kadim's basically invalidated, so Baz Brains is next to cross the line. A little bit wide there, very deep in through the final corner, and going to cross the line now. What lap time is this going to be? Crosses the line, it's only good enough to remain then in P6 for now, as then here comes Bald towards the line and crosses the line. Does he take pole position? Yes, he does. By over 3/10 of a second. It's Bald on pole position then here. Bald or Bold, however you want to be pronounced. And that is pole position for the RB man. And looking at the standings then, which we'll go through now. So right now, he's also your championship leader from Mr. Cookie. Orion is second, then it's KTT14 in fourth. Rehenson currently reserving, who is in fifth. Then it's Hepworth. Then it's Bazbrains. Chiaku is eighth, and then Kudum is in ninth. So those are your top 9, and to give you top 10, CDR Nerf Pack is currently down in 10th. Constructors wise, let's have a look at that. Sauber currently lead away with 30 points from Racing Bulls. Then Aston Martin in third. Fourth, McLaren. Fifth, Ferrari. Sixth is currently Haas. But let's go through the top 10 we'll go through. So Bold is first, then Orion, then Katat is in third. Fourth, Blackbone. Fifth, Philip. Sixth, Bazbrain. Seventh, Kadum. Rehenson is in eighth. Few is ninth, and Chiaku down in 10th. Not sure why he's got the Malaysian flag, but yeah, that's the flag he's opted to go for. So, anyway, into the racing action now, and look like we've got a wet race now here for today. Now, is that full wets? I'm not entirely sure whether that's going to be the full wets or whether that's going to be the intermediate, because, well, it does look like it's coming down very heavy rain. However, the track to me, personally looking at it, I would say looks intermediate territory. Ultimately, if I'm being brutally honest, so we are going to see. However, if it is full wets, I'm pretty sure the game won't allow the drivers to start on the inters, so the drivers will have to start on the full wet tyre either way, if that makes sense. So that'll be the drawback of that. Let's see then. We got 5 lights on our screen. It's lights out and away we go for the Miami United States Grand Prix. It's a good start by your pole sitter who leads them down into turn 1, and it is intermediate conditions given the game has allowed our drivers to begin on those inters, and through turn 1, 2 we go. It's then Orion on the back of the RB driver. The RB driver goes through sector 1 in the lead at the moment by the looks of it. It's Blackbone who's made up, I think, 1 or 2 positions. Bazbrain certainly losing out a few, down from 6th down to 8th then. And we've got a virtual safety car at the end of lap 1. Who's that for? Might be for Deck Lee, who's missing a bit of his front wing end plate on that left-hand side there. I'm not sure if there's anyone else who's had a bit of a, well, loss of wing. Well, actually, not few. CDR Nerf Pack there is also missing a bit of his front wing. So maybe that could give us a bit of a picture. I think it's CDR Nerf Pack. Or is it Jimmy Jags? Sorry, Jimmy Jags. So Jimmy Jags, apologies to Nerf Pack. Jimmy Jags is the one missing his front wing. It was one of the Alpines. Just got it wrong slightly which one it was. So yes, certainly maybe that gives you a bit of a clue and a reference to what could have gone on. Red Bull hitting Alpine, or Alpine hitting the Red Bull, one of the two. But them two probably going to have to stop considering the amount of damage they've got. So we're back underway, racing once again here in Miami. And down then into the hairpin. Is then Orion going to have a little dart up the inside? No, he's not. Orion stays behind for now. Didn't quite have the confidence into the braking zone to make the apex first and to claim the position. So we're going on to lap then 2, and still bold leads from Orion. Then Katat is 3rd, followed by Blackbone, and then Kadim is in 5th. Rohenson 6th, Bazbrain 7th, Chiaku 8th, Mr. Cookie up to 9th already from P then 20 on this race. And that's a great start by the Aston Martin driver, who has made up all of them positions up into 9th place. So on to lap 2 of then, well, 29. Mr. Cookie under a bit of pressure from Chiaku, but I think Mr. Cookie in the end managing to hold off and keep up 8th place then in this race, and now his sights are going to be set on the top, then 8 here, and that's a bit illegal, hey? Caught a slight overtake under the safety car, virtual safety car we've got here. So this is second VSC of the evening. And yeah, definitely not allowed to do that. Obviously, Bold isn't. That's a little bit of a legal overtake. Whether or not that actually did go, who knows? Maybe a bit of a lag, but nonetheless, I think Bold should maybe give that place. Who knows? That could be, though, a penalty coming Bold's way. If so, if that was the illegal overtake I thought we've just seen, certainly Orion could have a case there. Nonetheless, back to the racing green. Bold takes fastest lap. Cadet then takes the fastest lap. So, lap obviously 3 of 29. And have had obviously early stoppers. A lot of incidents in this race so far. At least 5 cars in the walls already, which for them is far from ideal, given, well, how they've obviously begun this race. So Bold is currently leading just under 8 tenths of a second. No DRS in these wet weather conditions, so it's all down to just the driver's skill and making the overtakes happen. And that simply is what it's going to come down to. Who can just feel the confidence, feel the grip, and also get obviously the power down nice and early without overspinning the rear wheels, and also not just overspinning them rear wheels but also keep the car on the corner entry so it doesn't really slide about that often. That's what you'd want in these wet conditions. Right now it does look like then Orion is feeling that confidence I'm talking about, because he's managing to keep a competitive pace with our race leader as they go into the first or final corner. And Bold though does have a lot more ERS up his sleeve if he wants to deploy that ERS to his advantage though, which is something he can certainly go and do and use that obviously ERS. Looking at Mr. Cookie, he's made up 11 places right now. He's well, looking to make up 12, can he? Of course he can. Shouldn't have even asked really. So Rahenson in 5th place will be Cookie's next target to go and chase down. Jimmy Jags up to 14th. There's a few cars also gaining from Few's pit stop, as Few will come out just in front of the Ferrari driver of Sheepers. Sheepers down in 18th then, so Few managing to get out in front of him. Does have fresher tyres than pretty much everyone ahead of him. And also those behind. CDR Nerf Pack in for another pit stop. Obviously, not sure if it is going to dry up later on in this race. We'll soon find out. But yeah, right now, closest battle on track is between these two, Buzzbrains and Hepworth. Hepworth currently trailing by 4/10. Also, top two having their own little battle, but nothing too exciting going on. But Hepworth, I think, about to make a overtake here on the Red Bull driver of Buzzbrains. Buzzbrains then having the outside line. It is Hepworth with the inside line. And there's Blackbone spun around and coming in now to make his stop. Also a bit of wing damage there for the other Mercedes driver. So yeah, Hepworth in the meantime getting past the Red Bull of Buzzbrains. Buzzbrains, well, back into 8th. Literally was down to 9th, or was in 8th before that, down to 9th, back up into 8th, due to that spin by then Blackbone, who's come in to make his stop, put on a new front wing, a new set of inters, and that's a new tyre for himself. Now looking at this battle, which is starting to close in on, Mr. Cookie gaining rapidly on his friend Rahenson here as they go into then, well, I'm not really sure what corner names are around here, but into the Miami section of the technical section of Miami, effectively. This is, so how easy will this pass be for Mr. Cookie? How difficult is Rahenson going to make then Mr. Cookie's life? Not that difficult at all, because by the time we get to the braking zone, Mr. Cookie is firmly ahead. Rahenson almost giving Cookie a love tap, pushing him along, but in the end, Cookie safely gets through and now up into 4th in this Grand Prix. And bear in mind, Cookie started this race over, I think it was, well, down in P20 or P19. So very much at the back of the grid. Mr. Cookie, 1998 up to then 4th place, and only trailing the race leader by 7.8 seconds at the moment in the Grand Prix, or in this race here in round 2 of season 9. So yeah, Mr. Cookie making very, very good progress towards the front of the field. Obviously, Bold currently leads the way. However, Mr. Cookie certainly catching up very, very quickly, but it's now quite a big leap forward he's got to make from obviously Rahenson up to the top 3, he's got to gain about 4 seconds over the next course of the stint. And the reason why I say stint, because our race predictor has predicted a 2-stop race for ourselves. So let's see if Rahenson maybe can respond here. Hasn't actually dropped or been dropped by Cookie, so there is a chance if Rahenson does fancy coming back at then Cookie here, he could do so, but in the end, doesn't look like it. In the end, by the time we get braking zone, nowhere near close enough to make the lunge down the inside. And getting a bit all loose on the rear of the car, out of the exit then there. So, yeah, it did predict a 1-stop race this, despite the intermediate conditions. So, I suspect our leaders will be in around lap, 13, probably around lap 13 to lap 15, somewhere in that region. For those that have stopped, well, they don't technically, by the rule book, have to make further stops, because they've done, obviously, the recommended stops, and also by the rule books, like, they don't have to make any stops at all in this race. If someone wants to risk going all the way, they could do so, as Jimmy Jags has decided to forfeit the race in the pits then and there. But yeah, going back to what I was just saying, you know, technically you don't have to stop in these intermediate conditions. If you want to basically stay out, effectively you can stay out. You know, you don't, there's no mandatory pit stops effectively. However, it does look the track might be getting a little bit drier, actually, over the last few laps. It does look like there's a dry line appearing, and I do wonder, is the rain therefore lightening down? Are we going to see slick weather conditions, therefore drivers putting on the slick condition, weather tyres? Track's certainly getting faster. Mr. Cookie into the 137s. What's so far everyone else's best? I just want to have a look at that so far. So, yeah, everyone else's best is roughly, well, besides Bold, 47.4, 47.5. Mr. Cookie, 47.1. So, very, very quick lap by Mr. Cookie there, even compared to the leaders. But it does look like, I think, therefore, the track is getting quicker and quicker. We were in the 1 minute 40s, and now it looks like drivers are starting to get easily into the 1 minute 30s. And mid 130s, and closer to the, closer to that 1 minute 36s. I think by the time the track gets into the 136s, it's definitely time to go and make pit stops then. So, CR Wolf catching then Chiaku. Chiaku currently 9th. If CR Wolf gets past here, that will put him up into 9th himself. Also, you've got Blackbone right now, about to make a move on, I believe, Philip Noisy here, or Noisy. Philip Noise, however you want to pronounce his name. And there goes Blackbone down the inside. Cleanly gets the move done. And up into 12th position now. Does have a 9-second gap in order to make up to the next car of Deckley. And then a further 5 seconds in order to get into the top 10. So a long way for Blackbone to go just to recover a few points here in the top 10 section. Anyway, Blackbone just moving slightly offline there, trying to break that, then maybe slipstream, just so Philip can't get back through. CR Wolf still in currently that 10th position, stuck right now behind the rear wing of then Giacu. And the question is, I suppose, when do obviously some of these drivers come in, like, and put on tyres? Obviously, Blackbone could go all the way to the end. However, I wouldn't advise it necessarily, because by the time he would get to the end of the Grand Prix, his tyres would almost be over, would be over 20 laps old almost by the time we get there, about 25 laps old. So, yeah, and he would have quite the offset giving the other cars. So, who's that spun around? It's one of the Alpines, that'll be CDR Nerf Pack then. So, Mr. Cookie currently in 4th place, catching Katat, who is currently running 3rd. Despite Mr. Cookie's fastest lap, hasn't actually taken, I don't think, much out of the race leader. No, he hasn't actually taken anything out of the race leader at all. So, ultimately, despite that one fastest lap, he's shown obviously good pace, race leading pace, but yeah, this is, as I said, the gritty stage for now Mr. Cookie in what clearly is his last to first challenge. And this is where he's trying to, well, probably got to at least make sure he's not losing time. And if anything, can try and maybe find time. Definitely, the track is getting drier as well, which we see FCRL Dragon going onto the hards. I think that's a little bit too soon and a bit too ambitious. He's going to struggle on that tyre, especially. I think it's just a few laps too soon, maybe 3 or 4 at the moment. Still, we're a few laps away from really where the dry tyre would be effective in this race, so he's certainly, I think, going to struggle on that compound. So, yeah, quite frankly, as I say, whilst there is one close battle going on out there, there's also Blackbone gaining. Other than that, everyone's got a bit of a gap between them at the moment. So, Philip Noyes has DNF'd in the pits end there. So, he won't score any points tonight. So, yeah, lap 12 of then 29. Not quite at the halfway point yet. Lap 14 will be the half race distance in this race. Right now, gap between, well, first and seconds, 3.2 seconds right now. Bold is driving a fantastic race out there, despite the drying track, which we know in qualifying he had almighty pace. Now, is it dry enough to start thinking of those slick tyres? Does look still probably a little bit too soon, maybe. We're still a lap or two away from that. Mr. Cookie still gaining in on Katat, at least the first of the 3 podium positions. So, yeah, still making inroads. How much longer, though, will it be before he's going to be on the back of Katat right now? Henson is also doing a very good drive, actually, out there. So far, he's doing what he needs to do. If anything goes wrong at the front, which so often it can and it does, Johansson is certainly right up there in terms of potentially becoming a beneficiary of that in 5th place. Not quite, obviously, good enough to finish probably on merit on the podium. No offence to Johansson there, as Hazard becomes the next retirement, again retiring in the pits. So he becomes our 4th retirement or retiree of the race then so far. And that's him then out of this one. In terms of actually FCRL Dragon, or Drogon, he's currently, well, when he came in to pit, he was 1 minute 34 behind. Now he's 1 minute 35 and 0.74 behind. Again, I do wonder, are we getting very close to the crossover to the point where actually putting on a dry compound would actually be better now than the slicks? I'm not entirely sure, but here we go. What I am sure about is this battle's about to commence. Little bit of contact between Mr. Cookie and Katat. They did come together. They did make contact, Katat, with the outside line. Katat's still going to try and hang on, despite losing the rights of way to the apex. Mr. Cookie had certainly the right of way there, and it is Mr. Cookie then up onto the podium. However, that did cost Mr. Cookie a few seconds, which ultimately would only hurt his race. And now we've got a safety car, full course caution, and that means, well, drivers are going to come in. What do they come in for? Do they come in for slicks, or are they going to go for another set of inters? Let's see. So for race leader, he's not going for the gamble. Is anyone going to go for a gamble here? Orion is, so looks like everyone, well, a few going behind, going for a different tyre. Orion's going for the slick tyre, so let's see what Johansson's going to do. He's going to put on a new Inter. So, yeah, Orion, I feel, well, has he made a mistake here going for slicks? Yeah, I honestly don't know. Obviously, surely to go for the tyre everyone else isn't choosing, logically, it makes sense not to go for that tyre. But then again, I don't actually know. As I say, when FCRL Drogon came out, he was about 1 minute 34 behind. Now he's 1 minute 35 he was behind. So wasn't losing time to the race leaders. In fact, was probably gaining a little bit on them drivers ahead. But he was a long, long way back. Let's not forget that. CR Wolf has gone for the hards. Like, in a way now, Orion's committed to the hards. So I think he's got to try and race on them, if you know where I'm coming from. I don't think he can come back into the pits. Well, he could, and he would rejoin, actually probably down in 8th place. So, yeah, if he wants to come in, he in theory could have come in, but he'll rejoin down in 7th or 8th. But for Orion, like, what do? Do you pray that this tyre gets you where you want to go? And it looks like that's exactly what Orion's gonna do. So taking a huge gamble, and you know what, this either works or it don't here for Orion. And yeah, either he looks like a tactical genius, he is gonna look like, or he's going to look like an absolute fool. And that's the only way I can put it nicely for Orion then there. Feel free to obviously drop a like or whatever and comment below your thoughts so far on the race. has Orion made a mistake, or is Orion, well, has he chosen the right thing? Let's see if I can do a poll, which I'm not sure if I can or I can't. No, I can't do a poll, fortunately. Which is a bit of a shame, though. Well, don't really matter too much. But otherwise, I would do a poll. So, I'm not sure if safety car is going to be in this lap. It is going to be in this lap. So, I don't think either spawn is going to be close enough in order to catch the safety car. And there's been a big crash here, actually, behind the safety car. Few picks up a penalty. However, I'm not sure what occurred there. So, yeah. Anyway, we're racing again. And Fuse retired then from this race. And look how slow Orion is going. And it's so slow for, obviously, Mr. Cookie. Obviously, he cannot overtake until they get to the line. But now he can. But he's lost already 2.5 seconds as they go into turn 1. Orion goes wide. This is going to allow, obviously, several cars through. Orion off the track. Orion now ghosted down into 7th already. So, yeah, he probably should have pitted for those inters again. Probably should have, well, just gave up on that before it was too late. And it is now too late, unfortunately, for him. So, yeah, CRA's Wolf into the pits. Ivo Spawn also, well, manages to go on through. He'll be delighted to gain back up to 13th. But it is now Cookie versus Bold then here. Versus Katat. Henson is also now in with a bit of a chance, but does he have a bit of a broken front wing? Looking at one of the camera angles, looked like he does and did. So Johansson is about to make a overtake potentially. So Bold is currently leading the way from Mr. Cookie, from Katat, from Johansson, from Hepworth, from Kadum, from Basbrains, from Giacu, from Orion. Orion right now still persevering with the hard compound tyre, who probably is about to get overtaken by Blackbone. Do wonder, once these hards are up to heat, will they be of any good service? Right now the answer is obviously glaringly no, but he's only been on them for about a lap or two. As we go a little bit deeper, maybe he might benefit from them. Let's see. So is it just a bit of short-term pain as contact's made between himself and Blackbone? Blackbone almost again losing another part of his front wing. Already got half a wing missing overall. Deckley right now is 11th. And Sheeper's gaining in on them as well. So Blackbone about to overtake. Then Orion Inmar for 10th. Well, for 9th place, sorry. As we go into the final 10 laps of this race. It is Chiaku from Blackbone. Deckley down in third. Orion now pits and... Oh, no, sorry, he hasn't pitted. He's just continued on just losing several positions continuously. So, Orion currently leads the way, then. Sorry, don't lead the way. Bold currently leads the way from Mr. Cookie in second. Third is Cadet. Hepworth is fourth. Johansson is fifth. So Johansson then looking down the barrel of a podium, so long he can also remain in that 3-second bubble at the moment. Obviously is unlikely to remain in 3 seconds, given the current pace each driver's setting. So I think attached, as long as he gets to the end in good speed, should be able to hang on to third place there. So, where else are the battles going on? Do have a battle right now for, I suppose, well, 8th and 9th. However, it does look like Blackbone's just got that under control. Obviously, doesn't have a 3-second, does have a broken wing though. And a significantly broken wing. And now Deckley picks up another 3 seconds, so 6 seconds for Deckley, which certainly going to hurt him because he does have Sheepers behind right now. Sheepers, though. So Sheepers into pits, going for softs, and yeah, it does look like the track is drying, and if not dried. So we are about to see then drivers make their stops for dry tyre. So Henson also one of first onto the dries, and we got a safety car. So, safety car should either be in this lap or next lap, I'm going to predict. And, yeah, whilst we obviously wait for the safety car come in, here's state of play. So, Bold on mediums, Cookie on softs, Kaduyim is on mediums, Rehenson softs, Orion sticking on his hards, Baz Brains softs for the 2 Red Bulls. Then Chiaku mediums, Hepworth soft, Katat is on mediums, then 3 behind, all on softs. Imagine if it's not this lap, next lap then definitely be when safety car peels off into pits. I don't get why, obviously, Orion Imar is staying out here on those hards. 9 laps old, surely the right thing would have been to come in. Also, a bit of wing damage for a race leader, which is not going to exactly be ideal. So, surely this is Mr. Cookie's race to lose here then, in the dying endeavours of this race, given the wing damage he's got. I feel like a lot of stewarding, well, cases might be opened up tonight. Obviously, not sure how Bold got that. Obviously, what you call it was just looking at Twitter on my phone. Not gonna lie. Or X as it's now known as. So, just waiting on the field to catch up to one another. Still a few cars like CR Wolf and Katat, still cars to catch. I don't think the safety car is going to wait for either spawn to catch up, unfortunately, once again. So I think he's going to probably get dropped. But what can, obviously, they do, and thing is, well, Cookie's back down to 7th. I'm not entirely sure what's gone on there, because he was in, well, 2nd, now he's down to 7th, so, yeah, I'm a bit awkwardly confused as to what's transpired, and going very, very slow again. Which, ultimately, I'm not saying Bold is reason why that everyone might crash the first time around, but anyway, he's gone and he's bolted out of then the final corner. Now, with that, obviously, from wing damage, is going to suffer the effect of understeer. How's that going to affect him through the corners? Well, it is going to affect him somewhat, at least, as we've seen, because he couldn't quite shake Kadom in this first part of the lap. And there's Mr. Cookie making up places on one of the Red Bulls at least, down into turn 1, is up into 6th place. 3.1 seconds off the lead of the Grand Prix. So, through Sector 1, Rehenson currently in 3rd, but he's going to potentially lose the position to Orion, does lose position to Orion, and now down into, well, 4th. Now also losing position to Buzzbrain, potentially looks like being ghosted. Hasn't helped the Mercedes man, but in the end, Rehenson manages to keep the position just. Now down the back straight we go. Who's going to take the position? Is it going to be Orion going around the outside? A little bit of contact, obviously the understeer not helping. Bold keep it clean, which Orion now takes the position and is up into then... well, up into 1st, because I think Kadom is suffering with a bit of understeer. And Orion then is up into 1st. And, yeah, Orion then leading the way from Bold Frumrens and from Mr. Cookie. So he crosses the line first. Who knows, might have a case to get that penalty removed. But even if he cannot get that penalty removed, through just going ahead, at least it puts, well, his own fate in his own hands in terms of whether or not he'll finish on the podium today. Right now, the gap to the leaders 4 seconds. If he, well, stays ahead of Orient, it will remain like that probably. So through the final sector of the lap, looks like Cookie has got this one covered in terms of taking the win on the track. So Mr. Cookie, final sector to go. And he is going to be last to first. Mission complete. Almost. Because he's going to complete the mission on the track. But with the 3-second penalty, is going to finish in second place. It is then going to be Orion, who will cross the line in second, only to proclaim the win. Orion wins the Miami Grand Prix from Mr. Cookie. Baz Brains is third. Fourth is Rahenson. No, fourth is Bold. Rahenson is then fifth. Followed by Katat. Then it is going to be Blackbone, Katat, Hepworth as they all cross the line, crashing into one another. Chiaku, then it's CR Wolf, and then it is going to be Sheepers down in 12th, followed by Kadim, and then it is going to be Ivo Spawn in last place. Then today, who's had quite a long Grand Prix, but at least persevering. And yeah, but for that, obviously, persevering is all you can, I suppose, ask for. Anyway, once he's finished, we'll wrap things up and we'll go through the final finishing order. So, there we go. Orion takes the top step of the podium and also takes the trophy. There we go then. So, Orion first, followed by Mr. Cookie. Baz Brains third. Bold is in fourth, then Rahenson fifth. Bloodbone sixth. Katat is seventh, then Epworth eighth. Deckley ninth. Chiaku 10th. Then CR Wolf is in 11th. Kadim is in 12th. Sheepers is in 13th, and 14th is Ivo Spawn. Few takes 15th, followed by Drogon, then Hazard is in 17th, Philip is in 18th, then Jimmy Jags 19th, and CD on Earth Pack rounds up the day in 20th, obviously with DNFs from Few down to Nerf Pack. So those are the penalties, and yeah, a lot of penalties, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 3 seconds, you name it, you've got it there. And that is then the Miami Grand Prix, round number 2 for Season 9, and probably see you then all next week for another BRL race of round 3.